Hey everybody, and welcome to Now Loading, coming to you live from the Ustream Studios in Hollywood, California. I'm Will.
I'm Shane.
And each week we're going to be bringing you the latest gaming news, previews, and tonight we're going to delve into the world of WonderCon.
And in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we've got some special rules in effect for you guys watching on the stream. If you check out the link in the doobly-doo or at our Facebook page at facebook.com/NowLoadingTV, you will find the Now Loading drinking game rules. So get your bottles open and poured and get ready to get some drunk on.
And later on, we're going to be doing a giveaway with a couple of things that we picked up from WonderCon.
All right, but first up, headlines.
So Mojang, the creators of Minecraft, are creating a new game named Scrolls. Sounds peachy, right? Wrong! Bethesda, the creator of Elder Scrolls Skyrim and other Elder Scrolls games, have an issue with him using the word Scrolls for the title. So Mojang, being, the jokesters that they are, challenged Bethesda to a quick 2-death match in order to resolve the differences. Bethesda, not taking the joke, actually took them to court to try and resolve the issue. Well, they've come to a settlement where Mojang can use the term Scrolls for the first game that's coming out, but not for anything else, afterwards, such as sequels.
Yeah, now, I understand why, Bethesda's trying to protect its copyright, and it's important for them to, protect things from infringement, when people are doing, knockoffs. But nobody in their right minds was going to confuse Mojang's Scrolls with the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Most people who are familiar with Skyrim and Oblivion don't even recognize Elder Scrolls as the name of the series. So there was no risk for this. This was just a big guy pushing a little guy around. But at least in the end, it worked out okay because Notch has no intention of continuing Scrolls past this game. So there's not going to be any risk of him, not being permitted to name his game what he wants to.
Exactly. And if I enjoy Scrolls enough, I'll be happy to pick up the sequel, Rolled Parchment.
Right. Now, in what's becoming our weekly segment on Kickstarter games and Kickstarter fundraising, we have an update from Double Fine. They have finished their legendary fundraising campaign for Double Fine Adventure and topped out at over $3.3 million. This is the largest Kickstarter campaign in the website's history and is definitely a big message to developers and publishers that there is another way to fund their games. Taking a cue from this is the makers of the original RPG classic Wasteland, which was a post-apocalyptic game, which was inspiration for the Fallout series, is now funding its own sequel, Wasteland 2. They were looking for $900,000 in donations. They reached that in 2 days. They've now passed over $1 million, and the sky's the limit with them now.
Yeah, publishers really must be shaking in their boots because, really what they've done is gotten rid of them. If we want a game as consumers and somebody's willing to make it that has the rights to it, we're obviously willing to pay. Almost $1 million in 2 days for Wasteland 2. That's not really an exactly well-known title. So, if people want the game and they're willing to make it, there's money to be had.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of, when big companies and big publishers do things like EA's Origin system, and you then see smaller developers like Double Fine and the developers of Wasteland doing what they're doing, it's very easy to know where to send my money.
Yeah. So, Blizzard fans, go ahead and rejoice. Diablo 3 has a release date of May 15th.
Yes!
So Tyrael will be coming back to smite those who are evil. Now, one small thing about the game is that it will not be launching with PvP, which, in all honesty, is not that big of a deal.
Well, except for the people who are into PvP. They'll come at you with their knives and pitchforks. But
I understand, but it will be coming at a later date. Pretty much what happened is they said that it was not going to be ready for launch. So rather than holding the game farther, in order to perfect it and then bring it out, then they just wanted to bring it out so we can finally wait for it. So we can finally play it. But knowing Blizzard, it's going to get pushed back anyways. So even though it says May 15th, I expect it for 2013.
Yeah. Now, this week, Obsidian Entertainment had to announce some layoffs, and this caused a bit of a stir in the community because everyone thought that Fallout New Vegas was a big moneymaker and was generally well received and considered superior to Fallout 3. Well, in a tweet, one of the developers at Obsidian let it slip that their payout from Bethesda was linked to a bonus, and that bonus was dependent upon a Metacritic score of 85 or higher. Well, it turns out, if you go to Metacritic, you find out that Fallout New Vegas, well, it scored an 84, so they got no extra money for their work on the game.
So, as a consumer, let me just go ahead and look at my book of things that I care about. No, Metacritic isn't in there.
Yeah, no, I can't think of any gamer that I know that actually bases their purchasing decisions on Metacritic. You know, we may go there to get a link to a review of a site we do give a shit about, but the Metacritic score itself has never mattered to me on whether or not I'm going to buy the game. So the fact that game developers and game publishers seem to base so much of their monetary decisions and so much of their opinion on the success of a game on their Metacritic score is, I think, disingenuous, because there's so many things about Metacritic that are flawed, like, you know, not taking into account systems that use, you know, a letter ranking system, or don't use a number scoring system, or even that use, you know, a 5-star system. A 4-star game gets an 80 point, even though it could be anywhere between, you know, 80 and 100.
Exactly. You know, and especially when you have like the Metacritic bombs, where if the fans are upset about the game even before it comes out, they'll knock it down to 3% or so, and you know, just stuff like that should not affect the people who actually worked hard to make the game, because the game, especially Fallout New Vegas, had a following. People loved it. People loved the Fallout series. So to see them getting rubbed out for just 1%, that really sucks to hear. So, yeah.
Yeah, simple as that. So up next, we're going to turn away from news, and we're going to take a look at what's coming up in the future at previews.
My preview for this week is Lollipop Chainsaw. Now, this trailer is focusing on the voice talent behind the games. Most notably is Michael Rosenbaum, who is Lex Luthor from the Smallville series and Flash. As far as what the game's about, cheerleader, chainsaw, zombies. Enjoy!
My name is Michael Rosenbaum. I'm voicing Nick. In a nutshell, this story is about a girl, cheerleader, who we find out is a zombie killer. She just royally kicks ass.
Juliet is a really fun character to play. She embodies the character of cheerleader and fun-loving and spirited and happy and a little bit ditzy and totally cool, as well as that flip side of someone that can take a chainsaw and cut right through a zombie and lop off a head and not be disgusted by it.
Nick loves Juliet more than anything and wants to see her succeed. He wants to survive this apocalypse or whatever, but, you know, I think he really misses his penis. Oh, fuck! That's the most adversity you could ever face, is a man without a penis. What's a man without a penis? What's a penis without a man? I don't even know what that means.
There's been a lot of thought gone into the writing and the dialogue. Gonorrhea! Gonorrhea face! Gonorrhea! You've got gonorrhea face! Yay! The writing is really great. The acting is fantastic.
Ouch! Well, no body thing is cool. I don't have to worry about gaining weight.
Ymir, let's cut this bitch into bite-sized chunks.
Hell, that girl knows trouble like apple knows pie.
Lose yourself in the eternal, collective unconscious.
I invoke your dark forces in declaring myself God of this realm.
This is when he finds out that he's a disembodied head.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God! Oh, fuck! How am I still talking without a fucking thorax? Fuck!
That was okay. That was good. That was really good.
The nice thing about working with James Gunn is he has a really clear vision of what he wants for the characters and how they should interact.
That was pretty perfect, Tara. If you could do it one more time, but this time, not suck.
He's really easy to work with. He doesn't yell.
You're supposed to be a professional actor, so this time could you perhaps do it in a way like someone with half a fucking clue would do it? Let's try that. Go ahead.
Asshole.
everything's just so well done that the fans are just gonna have fun getting into it and getting into the gore and being a part of this crazy zombie world.
Get busy, start killing. I'm ahead. Take care of me.
Let's play.
All right, and my preview for this week is going to be Command & Conquer Tiberium Alliances. This is the newest entry in the Command & Conquer series, but it's a little bit different. This is going to be a browser-based game, multiplayer, to allow you to take on the role of a GDI or NOD commander and fight for territory and resources against other players online. Take a look.
So, this week we went to WonderCon. Check it out. Hey everybody, Will and Shane coming to you from the Anaheim Convention Center, checking out WonderCon. Normally held in San Francisco, they've actually come down to Anaheim just to show us what's going on in the video game world. So, without further ado, let's check it out.
Totally. Oh, he's going on low. Come on. My pants are going to rip. All right, you win. You win.
So here we are at the Capcom booth. Mike here is going to show us around, and we're going to start with Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. So what can you tell us about the game?
So Raccoon City, which launches this Tuesday on PlayStation 3 and Xbox, is kind of our third-person shooter, our gnarly, really bloody, kind of throwback to the RE2 and RE3 time frame. We're going to be going not back as Leon or Claire, but as Umbrella, the bad guys, going back clear into the city through zombies, BOWs, all the survivors, basically taking out any evidence of Umbrella's involvement. So it's kind of our multiplayer cooperative shooter. So check it out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And the multiplayer is quite intense. It's 4-on-4, and then you have zombies and other kind of guys running around.
So that's kind of our spin. It's always going to be 4-on-4 like you normally have in any sort of shooter. But what we bring to the table is kind of like the Resident Evil world, the Resident Evil experience. At any point in time during any level, the best example I like to give is I'm a sniper. I always like those big, long rifles. You know, you have a guy like lined up for a headshot. All of a sudden, Liquor comes up behind you and just knocks your head off. Like, it's so unruly. You got to keep on your toes and stay ready. So.
Yeah, and you guys have cool little changes to it. Is that like the hunter will go for the guy who's in the #1 spot? Is there anything else aside from the hunter? Or?
So there's hunters, there's lickers, there's tyrants, crimson heads, zombie dogs. More than that, but we'll kind of let you guys get a chance to the hands on. But like you said, like the zombies don't just like run around aimlessly. Sometimes they're, you know, if a guy gets cut in the stomach, his guts will start hanging out. He'll start bleeding, and all of a sudden the zombies will smell that blood and run right towards them. There's also like special field scientist class. You can use zombie pheromone grenades. You got a guys like cooped up in a corner somewhere. Your enemies throw it over there. The zombies will do the work for you and kill them. So pretty cool.
All right. Well, be sure to pick it up on Tuesday, and let's go ahead and see what's next. All right, so here we are with Dragon's Dogma, a game that's going to be coming out a little bit later than Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. So what about this one?
All right, so Dragon's Dogma is a little bit later, like you mentioned, in May, but it's well worth the wait. This is kind of our action RPG style game, the magic and melee. It's all about exploring this big, deep world with your companions. We're calling pawns. You have main pawns, side pawns. Basically, your customizable team that you can bring with you and kind of like go into this world. So the story with this one is a dragon, which you see at the beginning of the story, has taken your heart, excuse me, and it's kind of your quest to go back, save that, and then save the world as well. So.
Yeah, and there's a really interesting element when you're fighting the bigger enemies, like the Griffin, that you can grab onto them.
Oh, yeah. That's one of my favorite things. It's like, and it's fairly user-friendly. It's less. I mean, there's tons of RPG elements, but it definitely stays easy, stays action-oriented, definitely accessible. Jumping off giant cliffs and then grabbing onto it like a griffin that's flying in the air is a really good experience, really cool. So.
Yeah, and I believe the creatures have certain weaknesses. Like you can light them on fire and things like that.
Right. So you imagine, like you mentioned, grabbing something like a Cyclops, you could, run up behind him, go stab him in the eye and stuff like that. Like you said, I don't want to give away too much to some of the weaknesses, but there's stuff like that in the game for sure.
Okay, well let's go ahead and see what's next on the booth. So, all right, Mike, what is this?
So this is something special we got here just for WonderCon. This is the first time we debuted it. It's we're calling it Street Fighter 25th Anniversary Confessional Booth. Seems kind of weird, but let me explain it. It is the 25th anniversary of Street Fighter this year. So throughout the year, we announced the tournament series earlier. We're going to have tons of cash, tons of prizes distributed to fans and players all over the world. But at the cons and stuff like this, we're going to have special things like this where people can come in, and we're going to be making a really cool kind of video series out of what people, like what it means to the fans. Like we can put out games and stuff like that, but some people, they come dressed as cosplayers. They come here, they want to be part of the series. They want to play the games. It means a lot to them. So you really want to like get in touch with them and hear those stories. And we're eager to hear, and we want to make something cool out of it. So.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for the booth tour, and you better bet I'm about to step in that booth and give a confessional. So here we are at the Nintendo booth. I'm with Eric, and in the background we have a bit of Kid Icarus Uprising going on. So what can you tell us about the game?
It's an amazing game. 25 years after the NES one, storyline as well. Basically, Medusa's back with her army, and it's up to Pit to save the human race.
All right, so it's coming out for the 3DS, and I heard a little bit about the multiplayer. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Multiplayer is awesome. There's free-for-all, or there's team battle at Light vs. Dark. The great thing about it is once your team's energy is all the way out, the angel arrives on your side, and one of the players plays as him, and then it's your job to either protect him if he's on your team or destroy him if he's on the opposing team. So there's definitely some strategy involved.
That's cool. So basically, do you just run around, collect power-ups, and blow each other up? Do you fly around? How does it work?
Multiplayer is all on ground, except there's a few power-ups so that you fly up and do some aerial shots, but mostly on the ground and take out everyone on the other team.
Nice. So in the story, are you going to have any partners or anything like that, or is it just Pit taking on the world?
You and Pit are taking on Medusa with Palutena is kind of guiding you, and she's the goddess for the humans, goddess of light.
Oh, hi, I'm Will, and I really like Guile, and I think he's totally awesome because of his cool hair and his big muscles and his cool dog tags, and he likes to do sonic booms and flash kicks and stuff like that. And I also think that Blanca is really cool because he's got red hair and green skin and is totally badass. And I like to look at the characters because I can't remember the names, because the only one I can remember is Guile, because Guile's awesome and I love him so much and I want him to marry me. I mean fight with me so he can teach me his awesome moves with his big muscles. He's really talented and pretty. And I love him. Marry me, Guile, please.
So it says here that you do care about jiggle physics. You give a shit about that.
I do.
Oh, sorry. So that was WonderCon. When we come back, we're going to be giving you the details on how you can win some sweet, sweet swag from WonderCon. But first, take a look at this motion comic that we checked out while we were at the show.
All right, Shane here. I've managed to rip the mic away from Will for just a few minutes because I want to check out Aliens Took My Girl. It's a new motion comic. I'm here with the co-creator and directors, Jesus and Chris. Guys, tell us a little bit about your comic.
I created Aliens Took My Girl about 10 years ago, and I've always been very fascinated by Maniac Mansion. I don't know if it's a point-and-click game, and it's kind of like a comedy/sci-fi horror thing, and I wanted to write a story like that, and then Aliens came along, and I started writing it, and then it was perfect to put it on a 50s, scenario, just because it's where the B-movie sci-fi genre is kind of like started with the atomic age, I guess. So.
Right, yeah. Maniac Mansion is definitely one of the old classic arcade games or adventure games. So what made you guys pick the motion comic media? Because I know that's kind of a new format that's just kind of getting its legs out. What made you guys go that route?
Well, actually, Chris here will be better to answer that question.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a story for a fully animated short feature, but for time's sake and for the birth of Virgin Media, we wanted to get this thing out as soon as possible, and that seemed like the best route to do it. Use motion comics, so there's less work, less time. We just get it out there so people can see it in a sequential story.
Very cool. So what was the how much was the production time for you guys when you know once it was written and once you guys got going? How long did it take you this thing down to completion?
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe like a year and a half, including pre-production.
No, actually, no. Pre-production and production, it took us about a year and 3 months.
Yeah, there you go. A year and 3 months, so just over a year, and it was a real joy to work on with the rest of the team that we have here. And everybody seemed to know what they were doing. They had they had a lot of great stuff to offer, and everybody worked great with each other. Everybody was really dedicated to the project, and that made it a lot easier to make it what it is now.
Awesome. So just to tease the audience a little bit to get them excited about the film, what's one moment from each of you that you guys are really excited for them to see? In context or out of context is fine.
Well, I really enjoy the fact of what's coming next right after issue 1, which is a giant robot attack, which we couldn't put it in the first issue because that comes in issue 2. But for Act 1, I would say the reveal of the minions, the alien minions in the alien world. It's pretty cool.
Nice, cool. And for you?
I would have to say just having the alien technology crossing over into the human realm, and then that way people can relate to that more and jumping into the fantasy sci-fi world.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys. That's alienstookmygirl.com. Check it out. Issue 1 is out on available. Yeah, it's premiering right now, available online, and more issues to come. All right, back to me in the studio.
Thanks, Me. That was a wonderful report.
I think that was a pretty good report. So, WonderCon was a lot of fun, and I will say that it's a really good con for people who have never been to one to start with. It's not very crowded, it's only a couple days, and you can actually get a lot of it done within just a few hours.
Yeah, it was low-key. There were a lot of booths there. There were exhibitors that were showing off things or that were selling stuff, so there was kind of had a... I don't want to say flea market because flea market gives it a bad connotation, but it was very like a bazaar, like a Turkish bazaar. There was a lot of cool stuff with different different companies, different products, things you could check out. But it was a very low pressure environment. It wasn't a lot of people trying to hawk stuff at you. When you go down to Comic-Con in San Diego, every booth corner and every street has somebody trying to hand you something and trying to pressure you to buy some other thing. WonderCon wasn't like that. It was very laid back.
And they actually still have panels too. So if your feet are getting tired, you can always check out what's going on. If you can watch anime, I think they have a room that's 20, the whole hours of how it's open. They're actually showing anime throughout it, and then they have other specialized panels about comics and things like that too. So.
Right. Yeah. Now, normally WonderCon is held up in San Francisco. I don't know whether or not it's going to be staying in Anaheim next year. So depending on where it ends up for you, it may or may not be a reasonable trip for you to check out. But it was in its 26th year this year, so it's a con that's got some legs, and it's going to be around for a while. And yeah, it may be Comic-Con's little stepbrother, but his little stepbrother's got some moves.
Yeah, and it's a little stepbrother that's a lot easier on the wallet. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, $40 for a 3-day pass or $20 for a single day was a lot easier to handle than the
$175
that you couldn't even get unless you got lucky in that 45 minutes the Comic-Con tickets were available. That was kind of ridiculous. So the great thing about WonderCon is you could actually show up on the day, buy a ticket at the door, and then walk right in.
Yep. So, since we've been talking about WonderCon so much, let's go ahead and talk about the giveaway that we're going to be doing. We have quite a few cool things. We have the book. We have a couple bobbleheads. And so we're going to have a grand prize, a first place, and 2 second-place winners. The grand prize is going to have this Kid Icarus shirt. It's going to have Street Fighter Cross Tekken bobbleheads. It's going to have the book, the bag. It's going to have a poster from the motion comic that we saw, and a couple of other things. And the first place is not going to include the shirt or the bobbleheads, but it'll still have a poster. And there's probably images playing right now that'll show you pictures of what you guys are going to be getting. So Yeah.
Right. Now, the important question, how do you get this stuff? Well, there's 2 ways you can do it. First off, like our Facebook page at facebook.com/nowloadingtv. Now, that gives you an auto. If you're already liked our page or you go ahead and like it during this week, that'll get you an entry ticket. If you want a second chance to win a prize, you can leave a comment in our archive video of this show at ustream.tv/nowloadingtv. Join the crowd, leave a comment under the video, and that'll give you a second shot at winning the prize. And we'll contact the winners next week. So you've got all this week to enter. Now, one thing we will need to say is that this is going to be for U.S. residents only, because we got to pay for the shipping, and, you know, sorry. But this is some pretty cool swag. It's got some stuff, like we said, from the gaming scene, from the Street Fighter Cross Tekken, from Dragon's Dogma. Thank you.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
And as well as some posters from Aliens Took My Girl. So it was a good haul had by us, and we'd like to share it with you guys. So please like us on facebook.com/nowloadingtv. Join the crowd here at Ustream and leave a comment in the chat.
Exactly. And also follow us on Twitter at NowLoadingTV. On Monday, we'll be having our top picks for the week. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard, I'll be having a live stream for about an hour. Probably going to play Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Right, and then on Wednesdays, you get to see me struggle against my aging computer as I try to play World of Warcraft on the stream with you guys, and you get to watch my frames per second drop down to the single digits and see my steam come from my ears as I stretch and scream and yell at the damn box. You know, you think 8 gigs of RAM is enough, but it's never enough. It's never enough, is it?
Nope. PC gamers, man.
I'm sorry.
That's why you buy a console. You don't have to worry about upgrades except for a hard drive.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's going to wrap us up for this week. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday at 8 p.m. And catch you then. By the way, hi, Mom.